liderar, de liderazgo, de influir en otras personas, de ser inspiración para alguien más. Y bueno, a través de sus libros siempre hemos estado siguiéndolo. Imagínense lo que es poderle tener así en persona, en carne y hueso, poder tomarte una foto con él, o sea, una persona que has admirado desde siempre y poder ahora compartir en este día. Qué privilegio, ¿no? Qué privilegio para todos los que se dieron cita en esta noche internacional. ¿Qué más podemos decir de eso?
Así es, una persona que comenzó haciendo ciertas parábolas, ciertas metáforas acerca de liderazgo y que definitivamente comenzó a marcar un aprendizaje muy profundo. Una persona que ha escrito más de 80 libros y su gran mayoría de sus libros han sido bestsellers, es decir, vendidos a nivel mundial millones de copias. Una persona que te enseña de una manera muy simple pero muy profunda, de una manera que te dice que todos los días hagas una actividad, 2 actividades, 3 actividades, 4 actividades, 5 actividades, que todos los días, a cada hora, a cada instante, todos los días, a cada hora, a cada instante, todos los días, a cada hora, a cada instante, todos los días, a cada hora, a cada instante. Y eso te llevará a tener un resultado extraordinario.
Pero lo que más me llama la atención de él es la humildad y la sencillez que tiene de ser humano. Una persona que definitivamente inspira mucha luz, ¿no? O sea, qué hermoso poder compartir con una persona que por más éxito que tenga y todo lo que ha recorrido en el mundo, tú te sientas y puedes percibir a ese ser humano que hay detrás con un corazón inmenso y con ganas de compartir todo lo que él sabe para el mundo entero. Qué privilegio, José, poder presentar al padre de liderazgo a nivel internacional, mundial. Recibámosle, pero de pie, yo creo, como se merecen los grandes, las personas que marcan un precedente y dejan legado.
Porque déjame decirte solo una cosa más. De todos los conferencistas que he tenido la oportunidad de escuchar, este ha sido el que más me impactó. Este ha sido el que me ha roto la cabeza y el que me ha apoyado a generar más resultados. Así que ¿están listos para recibirle? ¿Sí o no? Porque no va a venir acá si le dan con energía a tope. ¿Están listos para recibirle? ¿Sí o no? Así que
con un fuertísimo aplauso, gritos, banderas, recibamos a Xion.
Okay, you may be seated. Buenas noches. I am so glad to be here. You are beautiful people. And I'm just delighted to not only be here, but to be with a phenomenal organization. I really enjoy being with FuXion. You are a part of a great organization. Laura, I'm so pleased to be with you again. You are a wonderful leader. And what I love about you is you not only have terrific leadership skills, what I love is your heart. Amaro loves his people. And you're blessed to have a leader and a founder like this. And then I was able to spend the afternoon with all the leaders that are up here at the front, and we had a wonderful time. And we got to know each other, and we asked questions, and I did a little teaching on leadership. And I just want you to know that I really enjoy working with your leaders, and you are blessed not only to have Amaro, you're very blessed to have the quality of leaders that you have that are sitting right up here in front, because they love you too, and they'll lead you really well. Give them a hand. Absolutely. And I'm just looking forward to continually working with FuXion. And we're looking forward to connecting with you, because I don't have a lot of time to work with a lot of organizations as much as I work with yours, but I like to find a company that has great potential. And when I find a company that has great potential, then I say, okay, John, give them your time, give them your energy, give them your effort, teach them. And FuXion, if you're part of this organization, let me tell you something, if you're part of FuXion, you have made a good decision to be a part of a company that really... I'm excited to know you. I'm excited to be your friend. My name is John. On the count of three, give me your name, Uno, dos, tres. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Oh, they got the table for me? Now just bring the food and we'll be okay. Thank you so much, very much for helping me. Got the water. I take this back with me to the United States. And when I speak for my next company, I'll take it out on stage with me. And I'll do this. I am very excited about my time to share with you this evening. If you and I, if we sit down and you said, John, you can teach me one thing. And there's only one thing that I can teach you. I mean, you'd say, okay, you know a lot about a lot of things, but you can only teach me one thing. What I'm going to talk about this evening with you is what I would sit down and teach you. I want to talk to you tonight about intentional living. I want to talk to you about how to live a life that really matters, and how to live a life that really counts. And what excites me about this subject is when I'm finished this evening, for many of you, this will be a turning point in your life. Because for many of you, you will begin to understand how to live intentionally in such a way that you get a great return out of the life. So when I talk about the word intentional, 3 words. I'm talking about deliberate, I'm talking about consistent, and I'm talking about willful. So when I talk about living an intentional life, I'm talking about deliberate. You on purpose think about the life that you want to live. When I talk about consistent, I'm talking about the fact that you live this kind of life every day. And when I'm talking about willful, I'm talking about the fact that this life is a choice. It's a choice that you make. And what's beautiful is, what I teach you tonight, every one of you in this room can do. Every one of you can live an intentional life. When I graduated from college, I asked my father to give me advice as I started my career. Now, my father is an amazing man. In 2 weeks, he'll turn 94. He still works. If he were here tonight, he'd ask me to sit down and he'd speak. He's spoken all around the world, and he's a phenomenal person. And so I asked him, I said, Dad, talk to me. I really want to be successful in life. What advice would you give me? And the advice that he gave me when I was 22 is the best advice I've ever had. Here's what he said. John, every day, intentionally value people, believe in people, and unconditionally love people. He said if you'll do those 3 things, value people, because he said most people don't feel valued, believe in people, because most people don't have anybody to believe in, and unconditionally love them. If you'll do those 3 things, he said, I promise you as a leader, you'll always have a great following. Now, that advice I received over 40 years ago. And I can tell you for a fact that today, without any question, I still write my books, I still speak, everything I do in light of those 3 things. And I want you to know tonight, I'm here. And I'm here because I value you. I'm here because I believe in you. I'm here because I unconditionally love you. And I'm here because I believe you can have a very successful future. I mean, if you've been with me yesterday, last night at this time, I was in Washington, D.C., speaking for a company, many leaders. About 10 o'clock, I got on my plane and I went to Miami, checked into the airport hotel, got on the plane this morning, I came down here, I spent my afternoon with these incredible leaders you have here in front, and then I'm speaking to you, and as soon as I'm done, I'll go right back out, get on the plane, and I'll fly back to Atlanta, and I'll get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll get on my plane, and I'll fly to Philadelphia, and I'll be speaking at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Now, people say, why do you do this? I do this because I value people and I believe in people. I wanted to come and see you because I thought if you and I could spend a couple of hours together, I could say something that would help you to become a better person, a bigger person. It would help you. It would help you to be the person that you've always wanted to be. But listen to me carefully. If you're going to reach your potential, you have to be intentional. You can't reach your potential by hoping or by wishing or even by thinking. You have to live an intentional life. Deliberate, consistent, and willful. You see, most people, they don't lead their lives. Most people accept their life. Most people are not intentional about what they do. They're unintentional. They just basically wake up every day and they hope that everything is going to be okay. I'll tell you when I discovered that. I discovered that when, as a young person, I had a person share with me that I needed to have a plan for personal growth in my life. Now, I didn't have a plan for personal growth. I never thought I had to have one, but I'll tell you what I did. I asked all my friends, do you have a plan for personal growth? And probably for 6 months I asked them, and I probably asked 300 people that question. Not one person had a plan for growth in their life. That's when I began to understand that most people, they just expect good things to happen. They hope for good things to happen, but they don't make good things happen. And what I'm going to teach you tonight is how to lead your life, how to write your own story, how to get control of your life in such a way that you can be successful. Because if intentional living is willful, consistent, and deliberate, passive living or unintentional living is passive. It's inconsistent, and it becomes very disappointing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you to take good intentions and turn them into good actions. You see, when you join FuXion, when you join this company, you say, okay, I've got a dream. I want to go high. I want to do well. I want to succeed. But you can't succeed on good intentions. Intentional living is the dividing line between good words and good actions. And every one of us need to understand that if we're going to be successful, we have to do it on purpose. So, if you will allow me, I would like to speak to you kind of like my father spoke into my life when I was younger. If you will allow me tonight to be your father, or for some of you, your grandfather. Maybe for a few of you, your great-grandfather. But if you would allow me just to speak in your life for a moment, I'm going to share with you some areas of your life that you want to be intentional in, so that you can get and be as successful as possible. But before I share with you those areas that I want you to get intentional in, I want to share with you the benefits of intentional living. There are some real benefits of living intentionally. Number one, it is the best way to improve your life. If you want to improve your life, all you have to do is move from good intentions to good actions. In fact, a small intentional act is much better than a big good intention. A small intentional act is what really begins to help you to be successful. I had a mentor who one time said, John, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. In other words, I want to see the behavior that backs up, because it's easy to come tonight to like this. Great music, speaker, happy, everybody's doing good. But you see, this has nothing to do with your success in this business. What's going to have everything to do with the success of the business is when you leave here, how intentional you are to do every day the acts that will make you to be successful in life. And one of the greatest gaps in life is the gap between sounding good and doing good. No one has ever been successful with good intentions. No one. No one's ever built a business on good intentions. They build a business on good actions. I know some people, The best way I could say it is they're always getting ready to get ready. You know what I mean? They're just getting ready. Well, I haven't done it yet, but I'm getting ready. You know, I'm thinking about it. Well, wow, yeah. Ooh, I hope to do it. Yeah, someday. But what I've discovered, excuse me, what I've discovered is this. When a person says, one of these days I'm going to do something, normally it means none of these days. That you probably aren't going to do it unless you do it now. So, when I was young, I heard a speaker, a very successful man, say, I'm going to teach you how to take action in your life right now, not to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to teach you how to do it. He said, here's what I suggest that you do. He says, when you get up tomorrow morning, before you get out of bed, say out loud to yourself 50 times the phrase, do it now. 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 Do it now, 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 do it now. 50 times. He said, before you get out of bed, you say it 50 times, do it now. Then you start your day. He says that night, when you get back in bed, before you lay your head down on the pillow, say out loud again to yourself 50 times. Do it now. Do it now, 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 do 50 times? He said, I want you to do that every day, morning and night, for 30 days. I did that. I went home and I did exactly what he asked me to do. Every morning, I'd get up and I'd go do it now, do it now, do it now. Every night, I'd do it now, next morning. Every morning, do it now, next night, do it now, next morning, do it now, next day, do it now, do it now, do it now. And by the fourth or fifth day, I started to sing, do it now, do it now, do it now. Do it now. Guess what? After 30 days, when I got out of bed the 31st day, what do you think I thought of? That's exactly what I got up and I said, gotta do it now, gotta do it now, gotta do it now. That day I made a discovery. And the discovery I made was powerful. That one small step in the right direction became one of the biggest steps in my life. Because it taught me to be a person of action. It taught me to be a person of intention. It taught me that if I'm going to be successful, I can't wait and do it tomorrow. I have got to do it today. And the greatest way to upgrade your life and improve your life is to become intentional with it right now. It's the quickest way. If people say, I want to be successful, I want to be successful as quickly as I can, I said, you've got to be intentional. Number two, intentional living. The second benefit of intentional living is it teaches us the value of thinking on the front end. Now, you see, we're either going to think on the front end or we're going to think on the back end. And if we're going to be intentional in our living, we have to think on the front end. We have to say, okay, how am I going to live my day? What am I going to do today? You see, the greatest difference between successful and unsuccessful people is how they think. Successful people think differently than others. Successful people are always doing front-end thinking. So in other words, what I mean by that is, when you start your day, look at your day. Where am I going to be? Who am I going to see? What am I going to do? And you begin to ask yourself, how do I make those moments count? What do I do to, in that moment, be highly successful? Now, here's what I know. You can't be 100% all day. We're human. We get a little tired. We get a little worn out. Isn't that true? So you can't be 100% all day. So what you've got to do is on the front end of your day, you've got to look at it, and you've got to say, okay, what part of this day do I have to be really good? Where do I have to give 100%? For example, as I flew down on the airplane, I studied some, I relaxed, rested a little bit. I wasn't giving 100% on the plane, but I knew that when I came down and I spoke to your leaders, I needed to give them 100%. And then after I was done, I went up and rested a little bit, got a little food to eat, okay? And I thought, okay, I don't have to give 100% while I'm resting. But I knew as soon as I came out here on stage, guess what I got to do? I've got to give myself 100%. So what I'm saying to you is, intentional living requires that you do intentional thinking. And intentional thinking has to be on the front end. So what that means is, every morning you look at your calendar, you look at what you've got to do, and you ask yourself, okay, where am I going today to give 100%? The moment that you begin to do this, good things happen. Because if you don't, your whole day will sneak up on you. And all of a sudden you say, wow, what happened? Woo, man, the day's gone. The third benefit of intentional living is it inspires us to make every day count. And I'm going to say something in a moment that is so important. I want to make sure that you get it. Intentional living inspires me to make every day count. And what I want you to catch here is this. I want you to make every day your masterpiece. Every day look at it and say, this is my day to shine. This is my day to make a difference. You see, so many times we think, well, I won't do well today, but maybe I'll do better tomorrow. Or we'll say something like, I'm a little tired today, so I'll give 60% today, but tomorrow I'll give 100%. And what happens is we think, if I only give 60% today, I can make it up tomorrow. But you can't, because you can't do 140% tomorrow. You can just do 100%. Huh? Do the math. So if you do 60% today, guess what you've done? You've left 40% on the table. You've left 40%, you're never going to get it back. You don't get it back tomorrow. See, one of the things that happens to people that keeps them from being successful is they think they can make up tomorrow for what they didn't do today. And you can't do that. If you didn't do it today, you've lost it. And see, to be successful in this business, you have got to be intentional, and you've got to understand there are certain things that you have to do every day in this business to be successful. And if you don't do them, you won't be successful. It's that simple. If you do them consistently, you will be successful. The secret of your success. Now, people told me all the time, they say, well, what's the secret of success? Well, I'm going to give you the secret of success tonight, okay? I'm going to give it to you. In fact, look at your neighbor and say to them, John's going to give you the secret to success. Go ahead and tell them. Now listen carefully. It's the secret. What that means is, I'm going to tell you the secret, but you can't tell anyone else. Just do it. Let me tell you something else about this secret to success I'm going to give you. When I give it to you, every one of you can do this. So once you discover the secret to success, if you do it, you'll be successful. Okay? notes. In fact, I want to make sure you get this. So, here's what I know. I've talked to you now for quite a while, and here's what I know about you. You're sharp. You're smart. You got it. But I'm worried about the person on your left. Just between you and me. Look at me. See, you're smart. I can tell. But the person on your left, since I know you're going to get what I say, you're going to get it, you're going to write it down, you're going to apply it, because you're smart. But I'm concerned about the one on your left. So look at the persons at the side and say, it's okay, I'll help you. This is the secret. This is the secret. Just between you and me. The secret to success is determined by what you do daily. What you and I do daily determines if we're going to be successful or not successful. We have to do the right things every day. And when we do the right things every day, that's a successful day. If we do the right things tomorrow, that's a successful day. And what you want to do is you want to be intentional, and every day you want to do the things that will give you the return. You want to do the things that will help you be successful. For example, if I went home with you, and tomorrow I just hung with you. I just hung with you for all day. And I don't even have to talk with you. I just want to watch you. You see, if from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock tomorrow night, if I could just be with you that day, and I could just observe you, you know that you and I went to dinner tomorrow night. And you said, John, you said the secret of a person's success is what they do daily. How successful am I going to be? You do understand, with about 75% accuracy, I can tell you after one day with you how successful you're going to be. One day. Because you see, the secret of your success, the secret of my success is what we do daily. So I'm just going to watch you. For example, if I spend a day with you, I'm going to tell, by the end of the day, I'm going to know what kind of an attitude you have. Whether it's a good attitude or a bad attitude. I'm just going to watch you. I'm just going to observe how you work with people, and I'm going to find out what kind of an attitude you have. If I spend a day with you, I'm going to find out how relationally strong you are with people, how well you connect with people. If I spend a day with you, I'm going to discover how well you prioritize your life. Do you do the most important things, or do you not do those most important things? You see, if I spend a day with you, I'm just going to watch you, and by watching your behavior, I'm going to be able to tell how successful that you're going to be. Let me explain. Let me illustrate. We talk about the importance of making decisions, and making decisions very important. But let me tell you what's more important than making a good decision. What's more important than making a good decision is managing that good decision. Your willingness to manage the decision you make will determine how successful that decision is. You see, I make a decision in a moment, For example, I'm here at a FuXion meeting, so I make a decision. I'm sitting here and I'm learning, I'm meeting new friends, I'm loving the environment, so I make a decision. I say, okay, I'm going to be successful in FuXion. Okay, I made a decision. I did that in a minute, didn't it? I'm done. I made a decision. Will you be successful in FuXion? It depends on how well you manage that decision. And the management of your decision is a daily thing. Every day, you have to manage the decisions that you make. If you want to have a successful marriage, it's not the wedding vows that make the marriage successful. It's the fact that every day you manage that decision to be a good spouse. If you want to be successful with your children, it's not enough to say, I want to be a good parent. To be successful with your children, that means every day you manage that decision and you are intentional. Today I was a good parent. Today I did this. So it's the management of the decision that determines your success. Now, let me ask you a question. In Latin America, do you make New Year's resolutions? Do you? In other words, at the end of December we say, New Year, so next year I'm going to diet, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to exercise. How many of you have ever made a New Year's resolution? Let me see your hand. Oh, okay. All right, yeah, okay. Now, when you make the New Year's resolution, that's a decision. But whether you succeed with that decision is going to be determined by what you do with it every day. So on January the 1st, I get in my car and I drive to the gym. And I drive to the gym because I made a decision that I was going to exercise. I was going to, really, and so I get to the parking lot where the gym is, and I can't pull in. The parking lot's full of cars. And there's a policeman that says, the parking lot's full. Go on, you got to find another parking place. So I go a block, I go 2 blocks, I go 3 blocks. I finally pull over to the side, and wow, now I'm 3 blocks from the gym, and I'm disgusted because now I have to walk. But I don't want to walk to the gym. I don't want to get my exercise outside the gym. I want to get my exercise inside the gym. So I finally get inside the gym, and it's January the 1st, and the gym's full. Everybody's on a machine. And I think, everybody's on a machine. I go to the manager and say, wow, your parking lot's too small. I parked 3 blocks away. Your gym's too small. I can't get on a machine. He says, relax. Come back January the 14th. On January the 14th, I come back to the gym. Oh, when I get to the parking lot, no problem. There's no policeman out there saying the parking lot's full. No. There's a couple clowns out front. They're doing a membership drive, and they got balloons, and they're trying to get you in the parking lot. And I could pull my car into the parking lot. I could pull my car up to the front door. If the front door's wide enough, I can pull my car in. I can take any machine I want. I can exercise. Now what happened? Here's what happened. It took people 14 days to stop managing the decision that they made. Listen to me, friend. There is nothing that will make you successful more than intentionally every day doing the right thing. Trust me, it will begin to compound in your life. And intentional living just inspires you. It inspires me. It inspires all of us to truly make every day count. The 4th benefit of intentional living is that it allows us to make changes one step at a time. When we live intentionally, we don't have to change everything the first day, but we have to change something. And so what I want you to do is I want to share with you the things that I would encourage you to begin to be intentional in. There are certain areas that you want to, if you'll change them, if you'll be intentional in them now, you'll be highly successful. And I wish, many of you are very young. Again, for many of you, and I'm not only a father, for many of you I can be a grandfather. You're very young. And let me just say this. I wish that I would have heard when I was your age what I'm telling you right now. Because there are some areas that if you'll just become intentional in, you'll be highly successful. For example, number one, be intentional in your personal growth. Be intentional in developing yourself. Be intentional in every day doing something that allows you to grow and allows you to develop. When I was in my 20s, I made a decision. To every day personally develop and grow myself. That meant every day I would be reading books that would help me be successful. I would be talking to people that were successful and asking them how they were successful. I would be coming to events like this where I could learn to be successful. Every day I was doing something that would make me better, that would help me grow. Let me tell you something I really value about your company. Your leaders up front here, your leaders really want you to grow. They really want you to succeed. Well, what I love about FuXion is your leaders believe in you. And they not only believe in you, they believe in you. But they not only believe in you, they want to give you the best possible chance for success. They want to create what I call a growth environment for you. Because all of us, if we're going to grow, we need to be in an environment to grow. And I just say to you, what a privilege for you to be a part of this company that gives you the opportunity to continue to grow. Because I can tell you right now, if you hang around the people here and you do the business here, you'll get better. You'll get better. You really will. You'll either get better or you'll get out. One of the two things. Trust me, you'll get better. Okay? Now, so I put on this card here. When I was in my 20s, I put on this card what I needed to do to grow myself. And I'm going to share it with you now. It's 40 years old, okay? It's older than rocks, okay? But here's what's beautiful. It still works. Let me share with you what a growth environment looks like. A growth environment, number one, it's a place where other people are ahead of you. You're in a growth environment when other people are faster, better, smarter, more successful than you. And you always want to be in a company or an organization where you're not the head of the class. Are you with me? Yeah, so here, let me explain something to you. The people up here front, these people have been very successful in this business. They're ahead of you. But they're ahead of you. And what they're doing is they're looking back at you and they're saying, come on with me. Because leaders want you to be successful too. Now, but you always want to be in an environment where people are just, they're ahead of you. Because that will stretch you. Does that make sense? In fact, let me put it this way. If you're in an environment where you're the head of the class, you're in the wrong class. You need to get out and go find another class where you can have somebody bigger, better, faster than you. Number two, a growth environment is a place where you are continually challenged. Every day that you get up, you've got a mountain to climb. You've got something to conquer. You're challenged, you see. And you're so challenged that when you get up every day, you kind of gulp. You go, ooh, got a big day in front of you. Most people, when they wake up every morning, they yawn. Nothing to do. You want to be in an environment where every day you're challenged. Number three, a growth environment is a place where your focus is forward. It's on today and it's on tomorrow. You're continually thinking, what can I do today to be successful? How can I live tomorrow to be successful? Your focus is always forward. It's not behind you. It's not behind you. It's in front of you. I just went a couple of months ago to my high school reunion. 50 years ago, I graduated from high school. And I'm going to tell you, when I got there, I was shocked. There was a bunch of old people there. And I was like, look at these old people. Took my breath away. And you know what I found? I found out that those old people, they just want to talk about the good old days. Oh, the good old days. Oh, the good old days. And I stood up and said, they weren't that good. You're old. You forget. I know. The other day, Margaret and I were in the car, and she said, John, we're forgetting everything. I said, you're right. She said, I have a plan. I said, what is it? She said, you remember who we are, and I'll remember where we're going. It worked. They were old people. Old people talking. Let me tell you something. Your best day is right now. You want to seize the moment. You want to don't go back and say the past was, and don't look at the future and say, well, you know, someday I'm going to be successful in the future. No. Today is your day. Today is your day. A growth environment number 4 is a place where the atmosphere is affirming, where people encourage people. Encouragement is oxygen for the soul. We all like to be encouraged, don't we? Huh? I like to be encouraged. Do you like to be encouraged? A growth environment is where you get encouraged. How many of you have somebody that just encourage you all the time? How many of you got a friend like that, huh? Isn't that beautiful, huh? Yeah. Well, let me ask you another question. How many of you have a friend and they discourage you all the time? I mean, when you see them coming, you're going, you want to be an environment that encourages and affirms you. Number 5, a growth environment is a place where you're out of your comfort zone. You're out of your comfort zone. You just can't take it easy. Never get out of your gift zone. Always be out of your comfort zone. A growth environment is a place where you wake up excited. You can hardly wait to start your day because you know it's going to be a good day, and you know that you're going to add value to people, and you know that you're going to help people. A growth environment number 7 is a place where failure is not your enemy. In fact, you become a friend of failure. Trust me, failure is a good friend of mine. Failure has helped me tremendously. Let me talk to you about failure for a moment. Because sadly, in this business, we don't talk enough about it. The first thing I want you to know is, everybody fails. I fail, you fail, we all fail. How many of you have failed at least one time in your life? Listen. In fact, look at the person you're sitting beside and tell them you're going to fail. Tell them that you're going to fail. You're liking that. Look right back at the person that said you're going to mess up, you're going to fail, and say, I already have. I'm sitting beside you. Okay. Here's what I want you to understand. When you start off in this business, just like everything else that you start off in, you don't always do well when you begin. In fact, when we do something for the first time, we're never really good at it. We really aren't. I love people who say, well, I've never done this before, so I'm really working hard because I really want to do a good job. And I said, you're not going to do a good job the first time. It's your first time. It's your first time. When you started to walk, you didn't walk good the first time. You took a step and you fell. You took a step and you fell. You took a step and you fell. When you started to talk, you didn't start off with conversations. You said one word. Yeah. What was that? Ah. I keep talking. And only the grandparents know what he said. You see, you're never good the first time. It's okay. When you get in this business and you start doing this business, you're not always going to succeed. You're going to mess up. Okay, so everybody on this front row, they've all messed up. They've all messed up. You see, listen to me very carefully. You get good because you learn from your failures. This is new. I'm here to tell you right now, my successes in life are because I have learned from my failures. And when you fail, you either learn from your failures or you leave your failures. And if you leave your failure, in other words, you excuse it, you get away from it, you'll never learn from it. You've got to hang around those failures, and you've got to learn from those failures. Let me illustrate. When people hear me speak, here I've got my bottle of water here, FuXion and best. I've got my cake. I've got my cough drop, my cough in my mouth, I got the chair to sit on, I lay back, I'm talking to you. They say, you just seem so relaxed. I am. I'm not nervous. No, I'm not nervous. I wasn't nervous backstage, I'm not nervous now. I'm just enjoying it. I'm just as relaxed as if you and I were one-on-one over in the corner having a one-on-one conversation. I'm relaxed, I'm enjoying this. And people say, you just communicate amazing. How did you get that? I will tell you the secret. I have spoken 12,000 times. Let's put it this way. After 12,000 times, if I'm not good, I'm really in trouble. Listen to me, you have got to give this business a chance. And the only way that you're going to give this business a chance is to learn from your failures. Because you're going to mess up. You're not always going to do it right. And you're going to compare yourself with someone else, and you're going to say, wow, they're good, I'm not good. This isn't my gift. And I watch people all the time check out of companies like this because no one has taught them that it's okay to fail. And when you fail, you just want to fail forward. You just want to keep failing forward. Every time you fail, you just go 3 feet forward. But you're going to mess up. It's okay. We all mess up. Good on that? Trust me, my name's John. I'm your friend. And I can tell you right now, when you fail, don't leave. When you fail, learn. Learn. Say, okay, there's something in here that I'm going to learn so I can get better. So I want you to be intentional in your growth. Number 2, I want you to be intentional in your attitude. I want you to have a great attitude because that'll determine how successful you're going to be. So I want you to be intentional because attitude is the difference maker. All things being equal, attitude makes the difference in your life. It makes the difference in my life. Number 3, I want you to be intentional in your relationships. I want you to add value to people and to build in those relationships. Number 4, I want you to be intentional in your purpose. I want you to find your purpose, discover your purpose, find your reason for living, your why. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? Put those 2 things together, that's your purpose. And then I want you to be intentional, and this is the key. I want you to be intentional in your significance. Now we're getting down to what's really important. I want you to be intentional in your significance. And significance is where you every day add value to people. If you want to be successful in this business, just every day intentionally add value to people. Most people when they awaken in the morning, they're asking themselves, I wonder if something good is going to happen to me today. I wonder if I'm going to reap a harvest. I want you to turn that thinking completely around, and I want you to ask yourself every day, where am I going to intentionally sow seeds in the lives of people? Where am I intentionally going to add value to people? Now, significance, adding value to people, and selfishness, they are incompatible. You can't be selfish and be significant. So you got to get over your selfishness, okay? And if you don't think you're selfish, we all are. If you don't think you're selfish, the next time you take a group photo, when you look at that picture, let me ask you a question. Who's the first person you look for? Oh, come on. You look at that picture and you see yourself. And if you look good in the picture, you know what you say? This is a great group photo. And if you look at the picture and you didn't look good, you had your eyes closed. You said, wait, let's take another picture. This isn't a good group picture. This is not a good group picture. Let's take another picture. Oh, this is a terrible picture. We're all selfish in our nature. Listen carefully. In life, you're either going to be a plus in life and add value to people, or you're going to be a minus in life and you're going to take value from people. And intentional living helps you on the front end to determine that you're going to become a plus in your life, that you're going to add value to people, that you're going to do that on a consistent level. So let me tell you a story that just absolutely changed my life. I'm in my late 20s. It's Christmas time, and my assistant gave me a Christmas gift, and I thanked her, and I opened it up, and when I opened it up, it was a book. Now, I love to read, so I thought, oh, good Christmas gift. The title of the book was The Greatest Story Ever Told. Wow. The greatest story ever. I thought to myself, I wonder what that's all about. The greatest story ever told. I got excited, so I opened the book, and when I opened the book, much to my surprise, the pages were blank. And Eileen Beavers, my assistant, wrote these words. John, your life is before you. Fill these pages with kind acts, good thoughts, matters of your heart. Write a great story with your life. When I got that Christmas present, everything changed in my life. Because for the first time I realized that I could write my own story. That I could be the author of my own book. By the way, most people don't write their story. Most people read their story. Someone else writes it for you. You don't want that to happen in your life. You want to write your story. FuXion looks at every one of you and says, you can have the greatest story ever told. We're going to give you an opportunity, we're going to give you a company, and it's got blank pages, and you can start writing your story. And that day, I said, I'm going to write my story. In fact, I took that book, and I took it home with me, and I started writing in those pages. Now, this was before I ever wrote my first book. The first book I wrote was my book of blank pages. And I got so inspired as I realized I can take control of life. I can write my story. And I'm going to stop here for a moment and say to you, that's what I want every one of you to do. I want every one of you to write your own story, because here's why. If someone else writes your story for you, it won't be the story that God planned for you. You've got to write your own story. The only story that's going to be the greatest story ever told is when you take the pen in your hand and you start going through those pages and you start filling in those pages with kind words and good acts and matters of your heart. And I want you to take control of your life. I want you to become intentional. Wow, my life was filled with anticipation at that moment. In fact, I'm going to stop here long enough to tell you what my story was that I wrote in that book. Because my story had 4 chapters in it. And I am betting that the chapters in my story could possibly be the chapters in your story too. Because I think we're created with a purpose. And I think we're destined for greatness. And I think that no matter what country we live in and what culture we're in, I think there's some basic things of significance that we want to achieve in our life. So let me just share with you quickly what my story was and see how closely it will connect with your story. Chapter 1 of my story, I want to make a difference. My story started off by me saying, I want to live my life in such a way that I make a difference in other people's lives. I knew that's where I wanted to start. Now, I was very young. In fact, the people that looked at me, they weren't sure that I could even make a difference. Because I was young, and they thought, I don't know if you could really make a difference, but I knew I wanted to make a difference. And you know when I decided I wanted to make a difference? When I was in the 4th grade, my father was a college president. And he loved his students, and his students loved him. And when I was very young, I would walk across the campus with my dad. And the campus, the part that we walked across wasn't very, maybe 100 yards. But it would take my dad 25, 30 minutes to walk those 100 yards. Because as he would walk, he walked slowly through the crowd, and he would see a student, and he'd call him over by name, and he'd say, how are you doing? And I want you to know I'm pulling for you. I want you to do well, and I believe in you. And then we'd go a couple more steps, and he'd stop and tell someone else that he believed in. And he would take a couple steps, and he would encourage people. And he'd take a couple steps, and he'd add value to people. And I'm a 4th grader, and I'm holding his hand. And I remember one day when I'm holding his hand and he's talking to people and adding value to people. In the 4th grade, I said, all of a sudden I said to myself, I want to grow up and be like my dad. I want to make a difference in people's lives. People love my father. My father loves people. He's making a difference. So when I started my story, when I started to be the author of my own book, when I started writing my own pages, the first thing I said is, I know this, I want to make a difference. See, I think that many of you became part of FuXion because that's what you want to do. You want to make a difference. And if you want to make a difference, if you're going to make a difference, you've got to get around people who want to make a difference. Birds of a feather flock together. So chapter 1 was, I want to make a difference. Chapter 2 was with people who want to make a difference. In other words, when I started to want to make a difference, here's what I discovered. I discovered that by myself, I couldn't make a big enough difference. That if I really wanted to make a big difference, I'd have to join hands with others. You see, that's what's exciting about tonight's crowd. You're here together. Same company, same mission, same vision. And what I want you to know is you can accomplish a lot more together than you can just by yourself. That teamwork makes the dream work. It really does. And so what I want you to do is I want you to look at the person you're seated beside, and I want you to tell them, first of all, I want you to look at them and say, you can make a difference. Tell them, you can make a difference. That's good. Yeah, make a difference. That's good. Now, I want you to look at the same person who just said you can make a difference, and I want you to tell them, I need you to help me make a difference. You're sensing tonight that this is good. Yes, you can make a difference individually, but you can make such a big difference when you do it together. I wrote a book several years ago called The 17 Laws of Teamwork. And the 17 Laws of Teamwork says one is too small a number to achieve greatness. That if you really want to achieve greatness, you got to partner up with people. So, I'm in South Africa and I'm teaching from that book. 10,000 people in the big arena. And I looked at them and I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you can't make a difference by being on your own. I said, name one person in the history of mankind, by himself or by herself, with the help of nobody else, ever made a big difference in the world. And some guy in the balcony, I mean, it was just a rhetorical question. I didn't expect somebody to give me an answer. So I said, just think about it. Do you know anybody that's ever made a difference just by some guy way up in the balcony yelled out, he said, yes, Charles Lindbergh. He crossed the Atlantic Ocean in a plane all by himself. I said, you're right. And everybody clapped. They thought he got one. I said, but did you know that 10 millionaires paid for the plane and financed the trip? Did you know Ryan Engineering built and designed the plane? If you think you can fly across the Atlantic alone, go out to the ocean. You're not going to be able to fly no matter how long the runway. You just can't do it by yourself. See, what makes you great as a company is you do it together. Same vision, same mission, same purpose, same heart. Mother Teresa said, you can do what I cannot do. I can do what you cannot do. Together we can do great things. That's right. 20 years ago, I started an organization called Equip. It's a nonprofit organization, and I had a dream. I had a dream of training leaders around the world. And so I started with my brother. We started in our backyard. We started with a handful of people, maybe 6 or 7 people. And I got them together and I said, we're going to train leaders around the world. And we started. Within a couple of years, I saw we were doing really well. And then I made a bold statement. We trained about 100,000 people at that time. I looked at now a larger team. And I said, we're going to train 1 billion leaders around the world. And we called it the Billion Leader Mandate. And I promise you, it became a movement, it became contagious. people started coming up and said, I want to help you train leaders. I said, well, you have to understand, if you train leaders, you're going to have to pay your own way to the countries, and you're going to have to go twice a year for 3 years. You're going to make 6 trips. You're going to have to go back and forth. You're going to have to pay your way, because I didn't have enough money to pay everybody's way. I said, you're going to have to pay your own way. And not only that, because we need money to develop materials, you're going to have to give me $12,000 each to develop the materials every year. And so, I mean, they started lining up. Here's what I discovered a long time ago. When you put a big vision and a big challenge in front of people, winners stretch to the challenge. They love it. They just say, let me at it. And by the way, whiners, well, I don't think I want to do it another time today. I don't feel like it. Oh, the last time I tried, they didn't accept it and I failed. And they just think I'd rather take a nap. Why? Winners stretch to the challenge. Whiners shrink from the challenge. Whiners, they don't want to make a difference. It looks like a lot of work to them, buddy. They're out of there, huh? And so I threw out the million leader mandate. Now here's what's beautiful. We're not going to train a million leaders. In 20 years from the time we started that organization to this summit, we trained 6 million leaders in every country of the world. Every country. So when I was in Fiji a couple of months ago speaking to 3,000 leaders training our last country, I said, let me explain to you what happened. Volunteers took 4,500 trips and traveled 45 million miles and spent $56 million and gave up 120 years of volunteer time to make this happen. What am I saying? If you're going to climb Mount Everest, you don't climb that alone. You have to have a team. No one has ever got to the top of Mount Everest by themselves. Now, if you're going to climb a little hill, you can do that by yourself. If you're going to have a big vision and you're going to make a big difference, you've got to join with other people. I want to make a difference, chapter 1, with people who want to make a difference, chapter 2, chapter 3, doing something that makes a difference. I want to do something that will really make a difference in people's lives. Now here's what's beautiful. If you will take your strength, your giftedness, and you will take your passion, and if you'll do that, if you'll do the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you're good at, and you will apply it to the needs of people, you'll make a big difference in life. The key is you take your strength and you take your passion and you match it up with the needs of people. And when you do that, you make a huge difference in the lives of others. So I took my passion, adding value to people. I took my strength, communication, writing books and speaking. And I go all around the world with my passion, adding value to people, with my strengths, communicating, writing. And I help people believe in themselves, and I help people be successful. That's why I'm here tonight. And every time you take your passion and your giftedness and you combine them and you go and match that against people's needs, you'll make a big difference in the lives of people. I want to make a difference. But people want to make a difference. Chapter 3, doing something that makes a difference. Chapter 4, at a time when it makes a difference. The time is now for you to make a difference in your life. Too many people say, well, I'll make a difference when I get older, when I get more money, when I get a position, when I get a title, when I'm significant. I'll make a difference back then. And let me tell you something. That isn't going to happen. You need to make a difference. If you don't make a difference today, you're not going to make a difference tomorrow. So, I'm going to share with you how to make a difference, okay? I spoke to your leaders a little bit earlier at a thing called The Table. It's where I mentor them. I'm going to have the privilege this year of every month being on a phone call with them and teaching them leadership, and they'll ask questions, and guess what? They'll learn and they'll grow because you've got great leaders, and then they'll pass it on to you, okay? So everybody gets that. Take it, pass it on. Take it, pass it on. Be a river. Be a river. Let it flow through you, okay? Don't be a reservoir. Be a river. Let it flow. And I shared with them today what I want to share with you right now. There is what I call a rule of 5. When I was here when I was in Peru last night with you, I taught the rule of 5. How many of you heard me teach the rule of 5 in Peru? Raise your hand. Oh, many of you were. Okay. How many of you did not hear me do that one? Huh? Okay. Many. Okay. Over half. Okay. Here we go. I'm not going to teach it to the extent that I taught it there, but I want to make sure you understand the rule of 5. The rule of 5 is all about doing something every day that's essential for you to reach your dream. How many of you have a dream? You got a dream? Raise your hand. You got a dream? Okay. The rule of 5 is all about how do you reach your dream, how do you meet your goals. It's very simple. Let me illustrate. If you have a tree in your backyard and you want to cut the tree down and you have an axe, you pick up the axe and you go to the tree. Remember this? And you swing 5 times. Think of it. If you swing 5 times, you put the axe down. You go back up, you pick the axe up the next day, you go to the same tree, and you swing 5 times. Put the axe down. Next day you go to your backyard, pick up the same axe. Go to the same tree. 5 times. Very good. Give me the air. If you take your axe and you go to that tree, you do that every day, 5 times. If you do that every day, let me ask you a question. What's eventually going to happen to that tree? Eventually, that tree is going to... That's right. Eventually. So it's a phenomenal principle. Now notice that the rule of 5 says you have to go to the same tree. If you go in your backyard and you pick up your axe and you go over and you swing 5 times at one tree, and the next day you pick up the axe and you swing 5 times at another tree, and the next day you pick up the axe and you swing 5 times at another tree, and the next day you pick up, and so it's kind of like this. You're not going to knock any trees down. You're just going to have a bunch of scarred trees. You see, a lot of people, they don't understand. You've got to figure out what the main thing is. And you've got to make the main thing the main thing. You don't want to knock down a whole bunch of trees. You don't want to scar trees. You want to go after one tree, one dream. What's it look like? Now, let me also say this. You're not only going down after one tree. What do you have? You have an axe. An axe cuts wood. In other words, you not only have to have the same dream, you have to have the right tool. If you don't believe me, next time you go out to that tree, don't pick up an axe. Pick up a baseball bat. You're not going to knock the tree down. Now, are you going to work as hard with the baseball bat as you did the axe? Yes. You see, what people don't understand is, they say, well, I really worked hard. It doesn't matter. If you don't have the right tool, the right resources, it doesn't matter. You can work hard all your life and never be successful. You know, people say, well, I'm successful because I work hard. Oh, I can tell you people who work hard, they're not successful at all. You've got to have one tree, one goal, one dream. You got to have the right tool. And by the way, the other thing, did you notice it's every day? Every day. Every day you go to the same tree. You don't miss a day. You do it every day. Now that's the rule of 5. So I have a rule of 5 for adding value to people. By the way, I'm challenging the leaders of your team. I'm challenging them to come up with a tangible rule of 5 for FuXion. What are the 5 things that you've got to do every day? Oh, come on. So number 1, let me see if I do Spanish one. Number 1, you have to prospect. I don't need that. You just watch me do Spanish. That's Marco, my CEO. He's amazing. Give him a hand. I don't think he'll let me ride on the plane with him tonight. Let me just stop here for a moment. I want to say something. I have 5 companies, and for 40 plus years I've had companies. They're all having their greatest year right now. And I want to tell you why. Because the best CEO I have ever had, and he's the CEO of all my companies. I have presidents of my country. He's the CEO. The best CEO I've ever had. We bow down to Mark Cole. We bow down to right here, right now. Okay, prospect, number 1. Present, number 2.
Yes.
Number 3 is you pour concrete. No. Would it be you're definite? Would that be definite? You close the deal. That's it. Yeah, close the deal. Yeah, help me there. Close the deal. So you prospect, you present, you close the deal. You do it again, you duplicate it. Again and again and again.
Cut it over. Cut it over. Cut it over.
Is that 5? That's 4. Duplicate is train, equip, right? Train and equip, is that right? Do it over and over again. Reproduce. Yeah, repeat. Pass forward. Is it pass forward? You're so good. What's your name? What? You're from Bolivia. Yeah, I can see Bolivia is all over it. I can see that. Just, you may have to travel with me and translate all the time. You see, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, I'll take you, not him. Okay. Now, you're welcome. 5 is that like entrance, re-enter?
No.
Train yourself? So you train yourself? You train others? Huh? So you reproduce? Good. Listen, this is so good. You're helping me so much. I insist you travel around the world with us. Okay. You got to, now see, I love this. I love this rule of thumb. Now, listen to me very carefully. It does no good looking at it. So here's what you do. You come to a conference like this. Oh, that's good. Hey, amigo. See those banners? It does no good to take a picture of it unless you do it. You can't be successful in the business going around saying, let me show you a picture of our rule of five. Look at the picture. No. You have to do this. If every one of you would do those 5 things every day, do you realize how quick you would be successful in this company? I promise you. But here's what happens. We go home and say, wow, I'm kind of busy. I don't know if I can do the rule of 5. I think I'll do 1. I'll do the rule of 1. No. The rule of 1 doesn't work. The rule of 2 doesn't work. The rule of 3 doesn't work. The rule of 4 doesn't work. But the rule of 5, that's magic. So, look at your neighbor and say, you got to do those 5 things every day. Tell them that. Look at it. My name's John. Here we go. Look at me. How many of you can do all 5 of those things? Would you raise your hand? You can do it. Okay, now let me ask you. Second question. Now be careful. Because when you raise your hands and said you can't do them, that means nothing to your success. But this question means everything to your success. How many of you will do? Because if you will do it, you'll be successful. Does that make sense? And here's what's really exciting. What's really exciting, you know the person on your left? You remember the person on your left? beautiful. Here's what's beautiful. Even they could do the rule of 5. So look at your neighbor and say, even you can do the rule of 5. Tell them, even you can do the rule of 5. Good? Now, remember when I started my talk with you this evening, I shared with you that when I graduated from college, my father said, if you will every day intentionally do these 3 things, you'll be successful in your life. Remember? What did he say? Every day value people. Every day believe in people. Every day unconditionally love people. Now, he was helping me understand the rule of 5 for significance, and I'm going to give it to you right now. If you'll do these 5 things every day, you will add value to people, and you will live a very significant life. Number 1, every day, I value people. It starts by you and me every day valuing people. What does that mean? That means that I believe in you. That means I respect you. That means I think you can be successful. You see, the only reason I'm here tonight is because I believe you can be successful. If I didn't think you could be successful, why would I come? It's the fact that I value you. So look at me. Everyone of you look at me. Okay? Look at me. Every person in this room can be successful. Every person in this room can grow. You can get better. You can do better. Every one of you. I know that for a fact. And I just want you today to begin to understand that you were created and gifted for success. God gave you the talent. That was his gift to you. What you do with that talent is your gift to God. And I want to encourage you. I value you. I value you. Every day I value people. Number 2, every day I think of ways to add value to people. Every day. I think of ways. How am I going to add value to you? You see, when I came down to speak to the table, your leaders, I said, okay, how can I add value to you? What can I do to add value to you? And as I got ready to speak to you tonight, what can I do to add value to you? And one of the things I said, I'm going to teach them the rule of 5. I'm going to make sure they understand that they do 5 things every day consistently. They can be highly, highly successful. Margaret and I have 5 grandchildren, okay? Grandchildren, now you're just kids, you're young. I don't even know if there's a grandparent in there beside you. I mean, I'm just an old man, okay? Oh, you're grandparent. Yeah, I see that smile on your face. See, you and I know something the rest of them don't know. You and I know that grandchildren is God's gift to us for not killing our children. Now listen, be careful. We've got 5 grandchildren. Little Ella spent Wednesday with me. And we went to breakfast. And so we went to breakfast, and so we had a good time eating. And I said, now, Ella, we have to intentionally live here and think. We need to add value to people. So what are we going to do? Now, the waitress, the lady that was taking care of our table, was a single mother. And so I told Ella, I said, Ella, she's a single mom, and she has to work hard to provide for her children. She doesn't have a lot of help. And I said, we want to give her a good tip. So we figured out what the tip would be. And I said, Ella, we really want to add value to her. What do you think we ought to do? And she said, oh, Papa. They call me Papa, okay? They call Margaret Mimi. Margaret picked the names. Mimi. She said, I wanted to call me Mimi. I said, I like that. But she said, I don't want them to call you Pee-Pee. So they don't come. And I said, okay, now, how are we going to add value to the witness? And she said, well, she said, let's give her $2 more. I said, I like that. So I had put that tip there. We got in the car and I said, how do you feel about that? Oh, she said, I feel good. I feel good. We intentionally added value to people. I said, you're right. Let me tell you something. We were created to be our brother's keeper. We were created to help other people. And when we do that, there is something that becomes very significant in our life that gives us fulfillment and purpose like nothing else. And let me tell you something. I've tasted success and I've tasted significance. And once you taste significance, success will never satisfy again. There's something bigger and better than just making money for yourself. That's adding value to people. So every day I value people. Every day I think of ways to add value to people. Number 3, every day I look for ways to add value to people. Every day. I look for ways. What can I do to add value to people? And you know what? When you are intentional in wanting to add value to people, you will see ways to add value to people because we see based upon who we are, not what we see. And the moment that I understand this and I say, I want to make a difference, I want to add value to people, it makes all the difference. Remember this, people will forget what you say, but they won't forget how you made them feel. And when you make somebody feel important and you value them, let me tell you something. They never forget it. I'm going to illustrate it right now. My Bolivia friend. Come up here for a second. Right here. Here. Look at me. Don't look at me. Go the other way. Come up here. Remember? Huh? This is her meeting? This is your flag. And how many are from Bolivia here? Hey, they're not the biggest crowd, but they got first in line, didn't they, huh? Yeah, okay, here, well, let's take it one picture here. You were here at 6 a.m.? Look at it. She's just crying. I got her at 6 a.m. I get the line. You want to walk into the shop. Mark will take a picture of it. What's that? Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh my goodness. Sit down. Sit down. Mark Cole, my CEO. He just said, John, we ought to do a minute with Maxwell. Now, let me explain Minute with Maxwell. You can go online and get this. It's absolutely free. Every day, a person gives me a word. And when they give me a word, I talk about a minute about what it means in the area of leadership. And it goes around the world. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people see this, okay? So we'll do a minute with Maxwell with her. And it'll go around the world. How's that? You like that? Would you like it? Okay, so Mark's up here. Here, let's just... Yeah, I'll do that. Now, come over here beside me. We're going to put it back in front. And I will also tell all those people where I am with FuXion. How's that? Yeah, that'd be good. Carmen? My name's John. Wait. Okay, now Mark said, Mark said, when I'm done with my minute with Maxwell, he's going to pan the crowd and just go crazy, okay? Which you are gifted to. Trust me, that won't be hard. That won't be hard for me. Let's kind of put it up again. Yeah. There we go. I'm in Ecuador with a wonderful company called FuXion. My name is John Maxwell. Welcome to the Minute with Maxwell. And I have Carmen with me. She's from Bolivia. This is the Bolivian flag. She brought it to me a moment ago, adding value to me. And Carmen is going to give us our word today on Minute with Maxwell. What is it, Carmen? Love. I'm not surprised you used that word. Because as I have been teaching, not only her, but if I've been teaching these 2,000 people behind me, they are filled with love. They want to make a difference. They care for people. And you know what they know? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the FuXion people just care for people. They love the people, making a difference in their lives. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be with you, Carmen. I'm so excited about your beautiful country. I've been to Bolivia. Oh, yeah, I've been to Bolivia. Yes, I have. I've been to a beautiful country. Mountains, high up. I got altitude sickness. But when you go to Bolivia, you're high up, so you're closer to heaven. And when you're in Bolivia, when you go to heaven, you want to come home for the weekend. Welcome. I'm so glad you're with us today. Carmen and me on Minute with Maxwell. She came up and added value to me by giving me her flag. This growth environment that I read to you, that I wrote in my 20s, I'm going to give this to you. You see, if I had a pen, I'll sign it to you. I need a marker. Okay, now watch this. Here we go. To Carmen. Your friend, John Maxwell.
Thank you.
Give her a hand. Okay? Okay, we're doing it. Okay, be seated. I'm not quite done. I'm almost done. Just give me a few more minutes, okay? Are you learning something? Are you growing? Look at your neighbor and say, I'm learning something. Go ahead and tell them that. I'm learning something. Okay. The rule of 5 for significance. 1, every day I value people. 2, every day I think of ways to add value to people. 3, every day I look for ways to add value to people. I just did that with Carmen. You see, I just looked for a way, found a way to add value. Number 4, every day I do things that add value to people. Every day, I do things that add value to people. In fact, when I'm finished speaking, I have to rush out because I've got to go get on the plane to go back to the States. And when I get on the plane, I'm going to sit in my seat. I'm going to ask myself, who did I add value to today? How did I add value? Every day I ask myself the question, who did I add value to? How did I add value to? And I love that. I just asked myself that question. And my friend on the second row, he just raised his hand. Huh? Did I add value to you today? Huh? Put your hands up if I added value to you. Put your hands up. Oh, this is good. I'll take a picture. These are people that I added value to today, okay? Not bad for an old man. Number 5. Every day I encourage others to add value to people. Every day I encourage others to add value to people. Here's what I want to have happen in your life. I want you to leave with a commitment to intentionally live. And I want you to leave with a commitment to intentionally, every day, add value to others. And I want you to memorize the rule of 5. Every day I value people. Every day I think of ways to add value to people. Every day I look for ways to add value to people. Every day I do things that add value to people. And every day I encourage others to add value to people. And here's why. If you do that every day, you will not only be significant in your life, you'll be successful in this business. Because you become successful in this business by adding value to people. By always thinking of others before you think of yourself. Now, remember I told you about writing my story? Remember me telling you that? Now, here's what I want you to do. I want every one of you to write a story for me. I want you to write a story of when you added value to somebody. And here's what I'm doing. I wrote a book. It's called Intentional Living. Okay? Write that down. Intentional Living. It just came out. And it's just been released in some countries in Latin America. It's in Spanish. It's not in all countries, but it will be in all countries within the next week or 2. Intentional Living is the book. Okay? If you go to Amazon, you can get it now in Spanish, I can tell you that. Because I just spoke Saturday night to, in the States, about 10,000 Hispanic people, and the book is there. So the book's out. Okay, Intentional Living is the book, okay? I want you to read the book so that you learn to live intentionally in your life. But I want you to send me your story of adding value and significance, and here's why. I'm starting a movement of significance. And you start a movement of significance, mass movements don't begin with the mass. They begin with a few people. And it might as well begin with you in Latin America. you to write, it doesn't have to be a whole story, just a paragraph or two, but something after you've heard me speak tonight. Tomorrow, I want you to do something of significance, add value to people. Are you with me? And I want you to get on your computer and email me a story, okay? Because we're going to collect in the next 2 years 1 million significant stories of people adding value to people. And I want you to be part of it. And if you're going to do that, where does it go? Okay. Here's what you do. You go to start7day.com on the computer. If you go to start7day.com, you will find a video of me. It's free. It's absolutely free. No cost. To the start7day.com. You'll find me talking about significance, and on it, it will tell you where to send the story, okay? And you help me start a mass movement of significance. Because can I tell you something? Once you start doing this, you'll develop a pattern and a habit of your life that will just be absolutely beautiful. Now, let me wrap up. I'm very grateful that you gave me the opportunity to come down. Very grateful that I had the privilege of speaking to your top leaders and doing a little teaching. And to you, I want to say, I'm going to look forward every month to our phone calls. And I'll do my best to teach you. I'll do my best to add value to you. I'll do my best to lift you as a leader, because I know thousands and thousands of people are on your team. So when I touch you, I'm going to touch a lot of people. So I'm going to do my best. So thank you. But I want to say to all of you, I want to say to you, I came in with I've been very busy, very, very busy. And I came in and you have refreshed me. I came in a little tired tonight, and now I've got all kind of energy. And you know why? Because energy is contagious. And when you get around people that are excited about life, you become excited about life. So, get the picture. Worked hard this week. Got to get back on the plane. Old man. Gets around all of you smart, energetic, wanting to add value kids. And you've taken notes, and you've laughed, and you've cheered, and you just looked at me and said, "That's John, he's my friend." And let me tell you something, I am your friend. And Amara, you're the person who stepped out as a leader and said, "John, I want you to do some training with us. We're going to invest. We're going to invest in our dream." Because can I tell you something? The dream is free, but the journey isn't. And I want you to know you've invested in me. And I'm going to do my best to invest back in you and add value to you. But I just want you to know, I leave you full of energy, full of determination to make a difference in people's life. I leave you encouraged to encourage others to make a difference. So thank you. You've added value to me tonight. I love you.